so one of the questions I've been getting a lot is how long should you be freehand or zombie squatting for before you go into a front squat? So my answer on that, to be honest, is you should be able to zombie squat. I like to say at least like 95 pounds. Like that's a good marker. If you can't do that, then you're generally not strong enough, or you have a lot of limitations from a strength standpoint that you can still get better strength-wise. So when I'm talking about that, go ahead and do a freehand front squat right now. So he hasn't done a freehand front squat in probably, I think the last time would have been, I'll tell you why. It would have been September of 2022.
Good hold. I shot casa.
Okay, go ahead, go down. So when I look at the bottom right here, all right, do you see how there's no space between the hamstring and the calf? Chest is up, we're in a full squat right now, all right? Go ahead, stand up. That's how it should look. Go ahead, rack it up. Go ahead. Okay, he hasn't freehand front squatted, hold on, it would have been maybe last summer. All right, I can't remember, probably last summer. So probably about 10 months, maybe something like that. Go ahead. Okay, so you'll see the same thing here. No space between the hamstring and the calf. Chest is up, back is tight, perfect position. Go ahead, stand.
3, 2, 1, hold it, 2, 1, up.
Good. Up, just like that. Go ahead and walk it in. So even though they haven't done that exercise, they can still do it absolutely perfectly. All right. Now the same thing. Go ahead and do a clean grip front squat. The exact same position. All right. So there's no change there. Go ahead, stand up. Do the same thing. So the reason why, go ahead and just go. Keep talking. All right. The reason why it's important, if you can't do the freehand front squat, it's like the base level of foundation from a technique standpoint to be able to get into that position. All too often, I see too many people trying to race to get to front squats and back squats with like 12, 13, 14-year-olds, and their technique's just, I'll be honest, bad. It's really bad, right? If you can't get to a freehand front squat, he was doing freehand front squats. The reason why I remember it was 2022. They were doing a bad job doing front squats, so I made him go back to freehand front squats because it wasn't at the level that it needed to be or that I wanted to be what I consider to be good squatters, right? What's your best, what are you, like 315? Is that your best front squat? So he can front squat 315 pounds. He was still doing freehand front squats in 8th grade, right? Same thing, he was doing freehand front squats for like 2 years, right? There's plenty others like that. You don't need to be in a race to get to a certain level of like front squat or back squat. If you're not strong enough, and the reason I use 95 as a reference, if you can't freehand front squat 95 pounds, my question is, well, why can't you, right? You're probably not strong enough, just overall general strength-wise not able to do that. So you can still get stronger doing a freehand front squat. You get to a point where like for both of them, to a certain degree, of the freehand front squat or the zombie squat, you're not able to overload your legs because it's more of like a postural issue. So when you front squat and back squat, clean grip and normal back squat, you're able to basically overload the legs more, right? So up to a certain point, this will still get your legs stronger. Once you get like a good amount of strength, then you need other derivatives or other basically movements to be able to get stronger that allow your legs to get overloaded. But that's one of the things, like when you're trying to run through or race through, if you can't do a perfect freehand front squat for like 3 reps with 95 pounds, then I'll keep someone doing that until they can do it, and you'll get stronger, and then we'll eventually like move on. So that's a good example right there. So you can see 2 real world examples of kids that have been freehand front squatting for 2+ years, and where they're at right now, they're able to front squat, back squat, do the other stuff because a really good level of foundation and technique and movement is built upon that. One last thing, all right? You saw both of their positions. I see too many people, too many kids too, that will like start cutting range of motion to add more weight and just not able to get into that position, right? Go do a squat right now. All right, it's pretty simple, all right? If there's any space there, the chest isn't up, the back isn't tight, the heels are coming up, you can't get into that position, that should be your #1 priority right now. Go ahead, stand up, go ahead, come back over here and squat. Same thing, all right, you should see that be the exact same thing. So in this position, the ankle's able to dorsiflex, we're able to basically, the hip's able to move through a full range of motion to get into that flexion position. That's what you should want. You go ahead, stand up. If you can't get into that, that's what your priority should be at a young age, not necessarily trying to get the absolute max amount of weight that you get on the barbell, which is what I see all too often with kids 13 years old trying to front squat like 225 or back squat 315, which is horrible technique. I'm gonna be honest. You're gonna set yourself up for back injuries at 18, 19, let alone what your back's gonna be like when you're 30, 40, or 50 years old. So hopefully that helps with 2 real world examples.